Hey everybody, it's the Dynamite Show. Paul Fontaine, Jeff Hawkins here on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel. Past midnight on the East Coast, and it's 11:20 here in the Central Time Zone, and where Jeff is, it's still only 9:20. So God, he's
but remember, I usually go to bed at 9:30. So
there you go. Well, we'll try to get done this quick. Jeff is back, everybody, after a much deserved week off, and I got some holidays coming up too.
I conquered Wisconsin.
Yeah,
Beer,
it sounds
cheese, beef, and water slides. Hell
that's
yeah,
the life.
it was a blast. I had more prime rib, I think, in a week than I'd ever had.
Oh wow,
the best string cheese in the world. They have great beer. I rode North America's tallest water slide.
We went down there with the family the year before the pandemic, so that was fun.
Kalahari and Noah's Ark are still the best water parks in America. Although Kalahari is now a chain, so you can actually go different places. And
we stayed at Great Wolf Lodge.
Great Wolf is for more little kids, and I get it.
And we had our grandson was 4 at the time or 3.
Okay.
So yeah. And
I did want to say something because in the week I was off, a man by the name of Jordan Breen passed away.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know the name, if you were ever a fan of Sherdog, the MMA site, or the Sherdog Radio Network, Jordan Breen was a major part of that. And he was a pro wrestling fan. He liked to say, I listened to Josh Nason's interview with Jack Incarnacio, and it jives that he owned a videotape of WrestleMania 4, and that was the tape that he fell asleep to the most growing up. But when I used to listen to him all the time in like the mid to late aughts, because his show would come on right as I was leaving work, so I could just stream it, listen to the Bluetooth in my car, etc. And he was just the most intelligent, well-spoken kind of analyst, and that was the type of thing when I was thinking about podcasting. Jordan Breen was the guy I wanted to be. And he's younger than I am, but we'd be friendly because I was a regular poster / commenter on his show. And I told him, look, this is back in 2011, 2012. I go, I think I'm too old to be a podcaster. I think my time has passed or whatever. And he goes, dude, you know what you know, and you know history, and you're good at it. And you know what? You should just do it. And instead of thinking about it and think, and basically he gave me encouragement before he dropped off the internet totally. And I was just gut punched by his death because he had substance abuse issues and depression issues. And, he dropped off when Sherdog was bought out by, I think, I forget the name of the company. But he was kind of like all the people there, TayJay DeSass, were let go. And then he went to go take care of his father, and you never heard from him again pretty much after that. And that dude, I wouldn't be podcasting if it wasn't for Jordan Breen. So I just wanted to say a quick note of remembrance for him. And now we can get into the show.
Yeah, no, we talked briefly about that, and I mentioned you that like I kind of heard the name, but I certainly didn't know him, and I didn't really understand his significance or anything. And I read Dave's write-up in the Observer, and I realized, I probably have come across some of his stuff before, and I did frequent Sherdog briefly, mostly their message boards.
Well, I'll give you an even more compact, like my idea for the roundtables.
Yeah.
For when we were still doing with James and Kevin, came from Jordan Breen's roundtables for Sherdog.
There you go. Yeah, and I wasn't watching MMA really at that time, so that's why I kind of missed out on all that. And I know Dave mentioned he was on roundtables with Jordan as well. So yeah, it's tragic, and it sounds like he's a pretty young guy, in his 30s, maybe
38.
38. Wow. Yeah, that is way too young to go for sure. Yeah. So rest in peace to him, and it's just a reminder, kind of do what you want to do. And it sounded like just a super intelligent guy. He was behind the database for Sherdog, which I mean, pretty like
The fight finder, yeah.
Yeah, pretty intense thing there. Yeah, and that's what drove me to that site. And then and then their MMA forums were like just super active and everything. And I think
Wrestling, and that's the other thing too. It's like he sounded all intelligent. He would always sound like smarter than everybody, but he'd talk about pro wrestling too, just like a fan. So I mean, I loved him to death. He was great.
I think he may have like when I showed up on those forums, like he kind of knew who I was from, I guess, from the Observer. So he kind of vouched for me in a way, if he's who I'm thinking of. So if that's the case, then I just I kind of forgot.
And that's why and he's also why MMA Decisions is a thing as well.
Oh wow. Okay, there you go. I didn't know that. So he learn. Wow. Yeah.
So moving on to this, if this had been a 4-hour show, if this had been cut in half and ended when Dynamite was supposed to end, this would have been the best Dynamite they've ever done. Because it was all build for me.
Well,
I mean, to me, I thought it was an exemplary show in terms of that.
I mean, one of the best finishing angles for sure. It's so hard to say
because it was angles for the most part, other than that 30-minute.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, and that match. I mean, we'll talk about it right away, but like that for me, that would take it away from being one of the best Dynamites just because of that match. Yeah. Yeah, and but they did some great build. Don't get me wrong. And like I said, the last half hour or 15 minutes, anyways, whatever it was, that was some of the best television they've done. Like regardless. So whatever. I'm
laughing. I'm laughing because in my head is a joke. Don't worry. There's a guy who thinks he's an iguana who's going to be bigger than anybody on this show. With the other
well, you know what's funny about that? Okay, so I've seen people mocking. People hate when I do this, but I'm going to do it anyways. I've seen people mocking like WWE, their collaborations with AAA, and they're calling it Temu Forbidden Door and all this. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, I know more about these AAA guys than I know about any of the CML guys that are on every week, because they just throw them out there. They don't tell us anything about them. They just give us their names. They might tell us a title they won or anything. These guys, like the WWE picked a few guys and they focused on them. That freaking iguana dude is way more over.
They had puppets ready for people. Yep. I'm still waiting for a Harley Cameron mini Monet puppet.
Yeah, you're going to be waiting
to be available at the store.
You're going to be waiting until she joins Blake Monroe with whatever her name's going to be. But but no, we're going to talk about Dynamite. And they had a good first 2 hours for sure. And then they had a collision. I told you, if we spend more than 10 minutes talking about Collision, I'm going to blow my head off.
Let's just get Collision out of the way. Well, Mercedes is great.
No, we'll do this in order. We'll do it in order.
No, I don't want to do this in order, because all the good stuff will be front loaded, and then we're just going to be like,
we're gonna mix it up. We're gonna cover.
Company.
We're gonna join the show in progress after they shut the lights off and came back on and tended to Kenny and then did whatever they did. We're gonna start with Kyle Fletcher and Anthony Bowens. They had a match that was way too long. Anthony Bowens is doing the exact same gimmick as his former partner, except he just takes longer to lose. And Kyle Fletcher won. That's it.
Next.
Then we got a awesome video package with MJF calling himself the American Hero, building up his match next week with Mistico. That was awesome.
Love
Maybe the best thing on the show. Then we got some dude who they called their colleague, comes out there, said, "Of course my name is Carlos Cabrera." I have no idea who this dude is. He stumbled through some English for like 10 minutes just to introduce Atlantis. Out comes Atlantis and Atlantis Jr., and then they're quickly followed by FTR and Stokely Hathaway. Stokely was on another planet talking. I don't know what the hell he was talking about. Nigel's popping pills. Daniel Garcia's contemplating retirement. Adam Cole is comatose. Adam Copeland, I should say. Well, Cole probably too. And he was just insane. And then Dax got on the mic and he just made a bunch of old jokes about Atlantis Jr. Yeah. Apparently, if you're 62,
Curryhead has it for the chat. Carlos Cabrera, he was the Spanish announcer for WWE in the 90s and also most of the aughts and most of the Attitude Era, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's one of those things where it's just I don't know why Tony's always afraid of educating his audience. Tell them that.
Okay, forget all that. Okay, let's just say they said our Spanish announcer, Carlos Cabrera. Is he?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just say they said that. That's not even the problem. Why was this guy out there? Why couldn't it have been Tony Schiavone or Arcady or any number of the 15 million people they have out there that can actually speak English? You know what I mean? This crowd in Portland.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Like if they were in like Laredo, Texas or something, this guy could have done the intros in Spanish. It would have been awesome.
Because they're honoring AAA by letting a guy who does the commentary for
CMLL,
AAA.
Jeff, you're fed
CMLL. Whatever. All Mexican wrestling organizations look alike to me. I'm such a racist.
That was Jeff Hawkins at Crack Game 13. So he goes on and on. Apparently,
CMLL, damn it. Oh,
if you're 62 years old, apparently you have to wear Depends. And if that's true, I better get myself fitted pretty soon. Anyways, so they ended up in a brawl, and then all of a sudden people just started coming down to the ring. I completely lost track of who they were. I had no idea who any of these people were. And then Brody King, for some reason, shows up, and they had a big brawl, and the Callis family was there for God knows what reason. Well, I guess we know the reason by the end of the show. They announced a 12-man tag for next week with all these people in it, which
10.
12. There's a 10-man tag with the Death Riders. This is a 12.
Oh, and they're there and a 12-man.
Yes. Oh, yes.
What are you doing, Tony?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, pardon my
friend.
friend.
Get as many people on the card as we can is what we're doing. And I assume we're going to get FTR and the two Atlantises next week as well. I don't know if they announced it. Didn't. That match, they built that well, actually.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people in my timeline that hate FTR, and I don't get it, but okay.
Then we got an interview with Lexi Nair with Brian Keith and Big Bill. Big Bill cut a pretty good promo, but he was staring ahead.
Yes, he has the blinders on, and he is locked in to that camera, almost as if he's saying, "Hawkins, I'm talking directly to you."
Yeah, but it's not
like he criticize me.
It's not like he was reading cue cards, like because he sounded like he was talking off the cuff. But he was just like staring at.
Yeah, he had bug eyes right into the camera. Mm-hmm.
And Brian Keith,
I liked it.
Thanked him for saving him. I guess from something I don't even remember. And then they're cut off by, of all people, the Workhorsemen, JD Drake and Anthony Henry. They cut a promo and challenged them to a match, and they're gonna have a match at some point. Imagine it'll be a standby match on one of these upcoming shows. So yeah, that was that.
If there's a team that Big Bill and Brian Keith can murder death, it's the Workhorsemen, and they're not going to be able to. They have to do a good match because they're workhorses.
Oh, I hope they just kill them. Then we got Timeless Tony and Julia Hart. This was pretty bad. There's not much else I can say. Mercedes, Sky and Julia attacked Tony before the match. It took her longer to recover from this pre-match attack than I think that match itself actually lasted. She took forever to get into the ring. Finally gets into the ring. She wrestles for like a minute. Then she cuts to commercial. They come back. They do a few moves, and then the match is over. Tony beat her with a roll-up because that's what they do. And then...
Well, no, she beat her with her giant package because nobody could get out of her giant package.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Yes.
And then afterwards, she's celebrating. Monet enters the ring, attacks her. Then she lifted her up, sniffed her hair, said something to her, starts beating her up again. Mina Shirakawa comes down. When her Titantron or Contron hit, I thought it was Willows for a second. But no, it was Mina. She runs down, makes a save. Monet leaves. Then she comes back and attacked her. So I guess we're going to get Monet and Shirakawa.
I thought Mercedes was very good in this segment.
She was fine. They announced her as doing commentary, but just 2 weeks in a row that she didn't do commentary. She just ate.
finally got a properly cooked steak. I mean, I was
Yeah.
watching that last week. I'm like,
Yeah.
God,
But she didn't actually eat it.
Put ketchup on that and just make it a total abomination, Mercedes.
Yeah. So that was that. Then we got Lexi again backstage with Ricochet, and he's again talking about trying to find some dudes to hang out with, and out comes Lee Johnson and Blake Christian.
Oh, that'll draw ratings.
Yeah, Blake, who, by the way, we were doing things out of order, but he had already lost on this show, and Ricochet says how great these two have looked, and I'm like, is he watching a different show? But then he says that you're just missing something, and he cackles and he leaves, and Blake and Lee are mad that they got turned down. It's like, whatever. Then we got, okay, and this was bizarre because, like, I don't think they announced this match before it happened. All of a sudden, these people were started doing their entrances, and I'm like, what is going on here? Mark Briscoe, Tomohiro Ishii, and Willow Nightingale against the MXM Collection and Taya Valkyrie. Like, did they announce like this at all?
No.
Okay, so they do this match. Whatever, it was exactly what you would expect of this match. But at some point during this match, they announced that later on tonight we're going to see Bandito and the Beast Mortos. They announced this. They put up a graphic in the corner of the screen. Keep that in mind, okay? For like 2 seconds from now, or 2 minutes from now, anyways. But they had the match, whatever. They showed Chris Statlander watching from backstage, which again, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind for later.
I am so sick of this angle.
Oh, well, it took a turn, Jeff. Which
I know that. It took a John Hughes-esque turn.
Yeah, which is going to just be another John Hughes-esque turn, and we're going to be right back to where we were. But anyway, long story short, Willow hit a doctor bomb on Taya and got the win. And then they showed. Now, keep in mind, they told us that this was taped last week after Fyter Fest. And it was a promo from Chris Statlander. She's all mad because she tried to get back together with Willow, and Willow doesn't want her. So she's done with her. This is what she said last week. Except we just saw her watching the match and looking all longingly at Willow, wondering, why, Willow, why? So who should interrupt this promo but Wheeler freaking Yuta? And he's basically trying to recruit her.
Hey, hey, Chris.
We used to be best friends. Yeah. And if you need advice, I'm here. And she tried to shrug him off. And he said, forget about Willow and what others think. Just make your own choices. And she said, okay. Then she comes face to face with Marina. And Marina just glares at her. And then she looks at Yuta. Yuta laughs. So I think what's going to happen here is she's going to slowly start to believe Yuta. Then Marina's going to beat the shit out of her. And Willow's going to make the save. And they're going to get back together.
Oh, God.
That's what's going to happen, I think.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah. So then we get Bandito and the Beast Mortos, which they claimed was a standby match. Meanwhile, the previous match, they had never announced at all. They should have said the previous match was a standby match. Little things like this, it just drives me nuts because I don't think Tony understands what a standby match is. But anyways, they had
I think he puts that in so Dave will say, hey, he watched Mid-South and they had standby matches all the time.
Well, the funny thing with Mid-South is they would just keep doing these standby matches. They do like
they would. They'd have 4 standby matches in a row. And you'd be like, what are you guys doing?
Because the main event was like second on the show, and they don't know how long the main event's going to go. It could be 5 minutes, could be an hour. So you need all these standby matches. So anyways, they had a great match. I loved it. Great lucha match. All kinds of like near falls and pin attempts and everything. And
Morto deserves so much better from this company, but then again, so do half the luchadors in it.
Mortos looks like he's dropped some weight, which is good because he likes to jump around a lot, so probably a lot easier and probably easier for the guys catching him too.
I think he works better in the tiger mask than he did in the bull mask. I think that's also part of it.
Yeah,
because I think the bull mask is top heavy for him. And so he moves a lot easier also in this mask that he has.
Yeah, he's got a new mask too. He's been out for a while, so I guess because he was getting the mask made, maybe. But Bandito got the win with a Revolution Fly, so he didn't even hit his 21 plex. So they'll probably end up doing a rematch at some point, and then he can hit his move. But that was fun. Then we got this frustrated the hell out of me. Renee Paquette interviewing Mercedes Mone. She asked her what you whispered to Toni. Good journalism there. She said, I'm not going to kiss and tell. Then she brought up Mone's challenge for the CMLL women's title that apparently she did on social media. And she's like, yeah, I want to win another belt. And then some woman walks in, accepted the challenge, called her a bitch, and dropped her with a forearm. They never said this woman's name. I don't know who it was. They didn't ever tell me, so it doesn't matter.
They did tell you when they announced the match for next week.
They said it.
It's Zeuxis.
They did not tell me. They put up a graphic during the music after the main event. Toni was running down the card. I think it's because Toni didn't know how to pronounce her name, and that's why I didn't say it.
Didn't watch the Mae Young Classic, obviously.
I guess. I don't know. Somebody told me this was Lady Catalina. I'm like, that was not Lady Catalina. I know what
that's
she looks
Princess Zeuxis or whatever her name is. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we got Renee trying to get now this was actually an important angle, I think.
Yes.
That happened on Collision. Probably the most relevant thing on the show. So it's Renee. She's trying to get an update on Will Ospreay. Hangman walks in, asks how he is. Before he can answer, the Young Bucks came in, asked him how he was. And I said they had no clue what was going to happen to him. Paige asked them to explain themselves, why they went after Ospreay. And they said, we were aiming for Swerve. And that's the guy we were targeting for months. So you'd have a clear path to the Owen, and you're welcome. And he says, I didn't need your help. I never asked for it. I never wanted it. They said, you're landing it all in, bring the title back to Elite like the plan was. And Hangman says, there never was a plan. I haven't talked to you guys in months. I never asked you for help. I never asked you to do what you did at Dynasty. So stay out of my business. Stay out of Ospreay's business. Then he pauses. He's like, stay out of Swerve's too. And if I ever burn down a house again, it's going to be because I trapped you guys in it first. And he walks away. And then they show Nana peeking around the corner. And I guess he heard it all. And then he's like, boss, did you hear that? And Swerve's like, yeah, I heard it. Meanwhile, in the background, poor Will Ospreay is dead.
It's just bleeding. Yeah.
Bleeding profusely. We'll get to him later. That poor dude. And yeah, so the key here is that Swerve now knows that the Bucks were not in cahoots with Hangman. So we'll see what's going to happen there. People seem to think that they're going to team up, and I don't know. Hangman last week on the show you missed. Well, I know you watched it later, but he said he's never going to help Swerve and he's never going to team with him. So babyfaces don't lie. So
a few other things happened last week that we'll get to that when we get to the actual Dynamite part of the show.
All right. Then we got Thekla versus Queen Aminata. I know you love this match. I thought it was really good.
Hell yes. Yes. I love this match because it was, it's one of those things where you're watching and Aminata has improved, but she's still not great. She and Thekla are having communication issues, so they just decided to start beating the crap out of each other. I'm here for this kind of match, Paul. I love this match. I just think, and we got Queen Aminata and her chops back. She's kicking Thekla in the face accidentally. Shivani's kind of annoying me by always calling her Spider Thekla.
Oh my God. Yeah. Like he would go back and forth between just calling her Thekla or calling her Spider Thekla. And then Nigel would quickly correct and he's, no, it's the toxic Spider Thekla. It was just, this is a new character. Get her name down.
Put Transferring Heat's message on.
Word on the streets is Queen Aminata wasn't thrilled. She no-sold the finish and walked out. Queen Aminata, if you thought you were beating Thekla,
it's
line of work.
Dude, she got so much offense in on Thekla. Yeah. What are you talking about? How can you be upset about that?
Because she thought she was going to win, I guess.
I don't know, but man, this was a struggle, and I loved it. And like Thekla's entire makeup is off by the end of this thing because it looked like she forgot to kick out at least once too, which is interesting as well. I mean,
I agree with everything you said. The only thing I will counter with is, okay, I know there's a big difference between the comparison I'm going to make, and the difference is that Thekla wins her matches for now. But
by the way, one of the best debuts they've ever done was last week with her killing Lady Frost.
But by the end of the match, I was thinking she might as well be Lady Frost because she's going 50-50 with Aminata. And she won, but I don't think she's getting over because I think the fans, they don't know her, and I think she needs more impressive wins.
I agree.
Yeah. So
this should have been a match about 4 or 5 weeks later, or maybe even 4 or 5 months, and just have her kill local competitors.
Yeah, or the people you have under contract that you're not using, like Kiera Hogan or
Chris Statlander.
Taya.
Chris Statlander.
Taya Valkyrie,
Taya.
No, I mean they got plans for Chris, but yeah. So anyways, Thekla won with the death trap. I will say there's one thing. Aminata did that move where she it's kind of like Stephanie Vaquer's Devil's Kiss.
She drives the head into the butt.
Yeah, it comes off like she's copying Stephanie, even though she did it first.
Yeah.
Although I mentioned that in the Discord, and then someone told me, well, Stephanie did it in CMLL. Well, that doesn't matter. It's what you saw on TV first. And
I thought Fletcher stole the Devil's Kiss from Mercedes, so it's one of those
could be for all I know. I don't know, but that moves over, and Aminata's isn't, sadly. But
I don't know.
It would be if she was on TV every week.
Aminata doing that standing moonsault onto the chest looked like it wasn't fun. And she kicked her in the face a couple times because Aminata has broken people's noses for the past few weeks when she's been in matches. So
Aminata would get over if she was being used regularly.
She was over for a while. She had that heel run where she was on her and chopping the crap out of people. And then then they stopped that with the Mercedes match, and then she lost all her momentum.
Then we got Lexi backstage with Kip and Nick Wayne. Asking. So she followed up because last week Christian said that there was a surprise from Kip Sabian, and we never found out what it was. And they asked where Christian Cage was. He said his mom was with his mom, and Sabian said Cage was putting in hard work with her, but then they quickly pivoted and showed a Best of Super Juniors package showcasing Nick Wayne. They cut back, and Wayne told Sabian he loved it. Sabian said it's what brothers are for, and then Sabian said Cage wanted to tell him he's proud of Nick and doesn't know where he'd be without Cage, and the same can be said for Wayne.
Let's break down this video package.
That last line.
This video package was highlights of a win, and then highlights of Kevin Knight beating him.
Yeah. Well, he went 4-5 in the tournament. I mean, or it might have been 5-4. Like if you're gonna make a highlight package, number one, it feels like New Japan goes, look, we've given you enough footage with the Okada Omega thing, so we're only gonna give you limited footage on Nick Wayne. But you just want the Nick Wayne hype spots. Instead, you're getting Kevin Knight kicking his ass for half of the video. I think the idea was, and they were too subtle with this, I think the idea was that Kip was presenting him with a highlight package, but the highlight package was actually there to make Nick look bad.
Okay.
So it was, but they were too subtle. Like that's the problem. I think I was just happy to see a video package. And
that's true too. Yes.
Then they recap the angle that we'll talk about later, and with Okada and Omega, which I actually think was smart because there might have been some people tuning in late after the basketball game. They didn't see it. So, that was good. And it was a really good angle, and we'll talk about it in detail later. And then we got this freaking 8-man tag main event, and it was basically the exact same main event of last week. They just substituted 2 guys on Callis Family for 2 other guys in the Callis Family. And it was Paragon and Daniel Garcia against the Callis Family. And even RPG Vice, who was in the match last week, were at ringside this week, and they just had a Collision main event, and Alexander pinned Strong with a bridging German for the win. I have nothing else to say about this match.
No.
We had people watching in the Discord, and as soon as this match started, they all left.
I have no idea what they're doing with Daniel Garcia.
Apparently he's contemplating retirement, according to Stokely. So I don't know. And Adam
I might
Cole,
encourage it.
I assume Adam Cole's going to defend the title against someone from the Callis family, and the only reason that match hasn't happened yet is because they wanted to keep the belt a little longer. Yeah, you know what, Fernando? It was a solid match.
Hechicero not officially a member of the Callis family.
Are you sure?
Which upsets me. Because it was the Don Callis family, or it was Hechicero and the Don Callis family on the Chiron. So
okay. Well, I thought he was, so whatever.
So I love him.
Well, he was in a different group before. I think it was
Cage of Agony.
I thought it might have been. You're right. It was Cage of Agony. You're right. And I guess Callis family is Cage of Agony adjacent, since Cage and Archer.
Brian Cage was his. Yeah. Well, yeah. Sure.
Yeah. He's injured, but although we don't know. It depends whether or not Don Callis froze his contract or not. I guess we won't find out till he comes back.
Well, Mark Davis is somewhere in there too. We don't know where he's at.
Yeah. Can we back up and talk about Dynamite now?
Yes.
Okay. So Dynamite kicks off with Timeless Toni Storm being driven to the ring by Luther on a tricycle. Then we see Christopher Daniels, and he's talking to Adam Page, and they're just buddy.
Yeah. Thanks for retiring me, pal. That was great of you. Yes.
Yeah. We got a lot of history there, but it's okay. And he warns them that the Young Bucks don't have your back, despite what they tell you. Other people in the back do, so it's something you might want to rectify, because I can't do it for you. And then as he walks off,
I want Daniels to screw him so bad. I don't know why. It's just like, act buddy, and then just be in cahoots with the Bucks or something. Go, yeah,
and then we can chant, and then we can chant, "You deserved it."
Yeah,
you deserved it. Okay, and then we saw John Moxley and his Death Riders spying on Hangman in the corner, and then I think Claudio and Wheeler followed him. Took them a while to catch up. But they did eventually catch up with him.
Moxley is acting like Moxley is acting like he's event staff, and he has the hat on, and he's like working on a pipe or something, and he takes the hat off, and he just does his weird little shuffle, and then tells the two flunkies to go after him. There's Marina in tow. Yeah.
Well, like I said, it took them a while to find him, or to catch up with him, I guess.
It's a smaller arena too. They run smaller arenas. They should be able to find these people a lot quicker.
No. It was not a small arena. It only looked like a small arena. This was where the Portland Trailblazers play. Same building. Yeah. 3,500 fans. I heard that this was a good crowd. Which I guess by AEW standards, 3,500 is a good crowd, but this was a basketball arena. So they did a good job of making it look small. I will say that. Because I agreed with you. And then when they put up the name of the building, I looked it up, and and somebody else told me too. It's like, I mean, it looks fine until you realize it's actually a basketball building. But anyways, first match was Will Ospreay and Swerve. This was a rematch from a match they did last year. Fans were chanting "Holy shit" before they even did anything. And then also before they did anything, Will Ospreay is bleeding like a stuck pig from his nose. And
all right, like, I need to hold this here, because this was the one thing in the match that drove me nuts. Last week, this was plugged as Will Ospreay wants to fight Swerve Strickland. He needs to punch some sense into him. And how does this match start, Paul?
They just did some.
No.
They shook hands.
The code of freaking honor.
Yeah.
F that. Stop putting this crap in the matches. Ring of Honor is dead. Dead when it comes to AEW. It should be its own separate planet. I don't want to see ROH belts on this show. I don't want to see the code of honor. And I certainly don't want to see the code of honor when people want to fight. Okay, there's no gentleman's agreement to punch somebody in the face. Stop this crap, Tony. Thank you.
Okay, I couldn't remember why they were doing the match, so that part didn't bother me as much. But I will say, okay, so first of all, Ospreay's bleeding, and we have no idea why. Excalibur says it might be because of travel. I am positive that there must have been
Yes.
people online speculating whether or not he'd been doing lines with Toni before the show. I don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that's what happened. I have no idea what happened, but
I think he
was
got tagged on that first shot. That's all.
Oh, maybe. I mean, he was bleeding bad.
Yeah,
And
he got popped in the nose.
okay, well, they got it cleaned up by the time the commercial hit, and then when they came back from the commercial, they started having a pretty awesome match, and they went through 2 commercial breaks, and they were going back and forth and reversals and hitting their finishers and kicking out, and I was loving this match. And Fernando pointed out that it was better than Dynasty, and he also said one of the top 5 Dynamite matches. Okay, I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna way disagree on this. Transferring Heat, you point out Portland plays at Moda Center. I'm almost positive that's where they said they were. Google it and find out, but because I don't have time to do it right now, but I'm almost positive they said they were at Moda Center tonight. I can't say this was top 5 Dynamite matches, Fernando. It was shaping up to be. And
it was at the Theater of the Clouds at Moda Center. So it's kind of like they have
the theater at MSG.
At MSG. Yeah.
Okay. So my friend was wrong. So I'm gonna give him shit. So anyways, like I said, they were having a great match. It was going around just awesome. And then at some point, Excalibur says they've been going at it for over 25 minutes. There's less than 5 minutes left in this match. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, okay, granted, I'm sure that the ring announcer said the time limit at the start of the match. But sometimes these matches have 15-minute time limits. Sometimes they have 20-minute time limits. Sometimes they have 30-minute time limits. Sometimes they have 60-minute time limits. There's no rhyme or reason to any of it. And I had no idea that this match was coming up on the time limit until they said they've been going at it 25 minutes. Then they both him and Taz were back and forth, and even Ian. I don't know how much time is left. Oh, it might be 90 seconds. It might be 2 minutes. It might be this. It might be that. I can't think of any sporting event other than soccer where you have no idea how much time is left in the match. And I think it's because Toni comes from soccer that he thinks this is fine. But when you're watching a match, if you're going to be having a time limit, you need to put that time limit on the screen, or you need to do time calls. And I've been watching early Dynamites, and I don't know if you remember this, Jeff. They were doing time calls when Dynamite started. I'm 4 episodes in, and if a match went over 10 minutes, Justin Roberts was there. 10 minutes has gone by in this match, 10 minutes remaining. 15 minutes has gone by in this match, 5 minutes remaining. Do it every match. As long as you do it every match, you're not giving away that it's going to a draw. Not only that, the fans watching in the building have no idea how much time is left. They don't know it's a 30-minute time limit unless they were paying attention when Justin Roberts did the ring intros, which I'm sure none of them were. And even if they were, it was half an hour ago, so they don't remember. And the freaking guys didn't know, I don't think, because they're freaking Taz is 60 seconds left, 30 seconds left. Will Ospreay's lying on the ground. Swerve is taking his time to get to the top rope. He's standing there. He's waiting. All of a sudden, he's just standing there, and he's about to do a move, and they say, the time limit has elapsed in this match. The fans start booing. Swerve gets on the mic, asks for more time. Then the Death Riders interrupted. I was so pissed off. I was getting ready to give this match 5 stars. Like, I liked the match that much, but this finish pissed me off something fierce, and I did not like it. Like, because of it, the finish ruined it. If you're gonna do it, you need to. If they could have done this so much better. If they wanted to do a draw, that's fine. I don't have a problem with a 30-minute draw. I have a problem with the way they did it. That's what I'm saying.
Just done a double, or just thrown the match out. Just had everybody run in and beat up the 2 guys.
Well, you could have done that, but I mean, that's not what they wanted to do. They wanted to say that these guys were equal, and that's fine. If you have Justin Roberts, 60 seconds left in this match, 30 seconds left in this match, Will is desperately trying to get a pin. Swerve is desperately trying to get a pin. Here it was like they were desperately trying to kill time because they were waiting for Justin Roberts to say the time limit has expired. That's all they were doing by the end.
Yeah, here's the thing, and it's a problem, and it's been a problem since day one of AEW. It makes sense in Tony's head.
Yes.
He just can't convey it to everybody in his production staff for some reason.
But the thing is, they used to do time calls. So for some reason they
Yes.
stopped, and I don't know why.
Yes. Because Dave complained about time calls.
Oh my God. And now he
Remember?
wants them again.
Yeah. Well, remember, it's like, well, as soon as you say there's a time call, everybody's just kind of waiting there.
No, you know what?
what's gonna
That didn't happen. People get excited. 10 minutes. Oh my God, we're seeing a long match. This is great. Like,
Not according to Wrestling Observer Radio.
well,
So.
Dave's wrong. Yeah, so I was, yeah. So, I mean, again, I still gave it 4.5 stars. It was, you know, it might end up being match of the week. It's nowhere near match of the year, or top 5 Dynamite matches of all time, in my opinion. Fernando thinks it is. That's great. I'm glad you liked it.
I don't know, I think it was in the 5-star neighborhood, but okay.
And I have no idea. Well, I mean, I know why they did it because of what they did after the match, but I have no idea what the match itself actually accomplished.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. So I mean, so they match is over. They're both, you know, like whatever. Swerve asks for more time. The Death Riders show up, and then they surrounded the ring, and then the Young Bucks showed up, and the Death Riders just vanished. They hit Strickland with an EVP trigger, hit Nana with a super kick. They handcuff Swerve to the ropes, and they're about to do the super kick party. Strickland ate 5 super kicks. Then he threw in a bag containing thumbtack-covered shoes, just like the one Swerve used at Anarchy in the Arena. Meanwhile, while all this is going on, I'm wondering, where the hell is Ospreay? Why isn't he helping? I have no idea where he is, and I figured he just disappeared like the Death Riders, or maybe the Death Riders took him away. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. So they took their time. They put on the shoes. They went to give Swerve super kicks wearing the shoes that were covered in tacks, and Ospreay shows up out of nowhere. Now, they shot it really well because you didn't see Ospreay coming, and he got in there right at the last second, and they both hit him, and he immediately started covering his face, so he's bleeding like a stuck pig, and later on, when they showed him, he was still bleeding, I guess. And yeah, so last week he said, I would take a bullet for you. And here he basically took a bullet for Swerve. So that was cool. And then I think, did somebody ever make the save? I don't think so. Oh, I thought, did the Ops make the save here?
Joe, the Ops made the save.
They did? Okay. Oh, all right. And yeah, so that was that.
No, they didn't. No. I was wrong because the Ops made the save for Hangman. My fault.
So nobody made the save. They just
got tired. They just got tired.
Yeah, just got tired of beating his ass. All right. Then we go backstage to Renee and Kazuchika Okada, and he's about to talk about the contract signing, and Don Callis shows up, and he's all mad because Okada shouldn't be in this match. It should be Kyle. It should be Konosuke Takeshita. Nobody's had as good a 6 months as either one of these guys. And I'm like, well, he's a champion and your guys aren't. And then he shook his finger at Okada. He grabbed it, called Callis a bitch. And at this point, I was worried. I was thinking they're going to do Okada and Omega against Callis family. I was positive that's where this was going. And I was fixing to take a fit. And luckily they didn't do that. Right?
Sure.
Okay. But it was fine. It was table setting here. Then we got a little segment with MVP. He says, hey, guys, check this out. And he shows, and some guy who we're told was Komander, but I have my doubts, was
That'd be hilarious if they had like Mookie playing Komander and we didn't know about it.
He was being beaten on by the Hurt Syndicate, by Shelton and Bobby. And meanwhile, MJF is holding Komander's mask. And he's out of the match tonight. It was supposed to be JetSpeed and Komander, which they called JetSpeed Air, against the Hurt Syndicate, but they said Mascara Dorada. Is that his name? Yeah, Mascara Dorada. He would be filling in for Komander tonight. So again, just these random guys in masks that just show up on the show. We don't know anything about them. They wrestle, they leave, and another guy in a mask shows up, and that's that. And yet,
meanwhile, there's a guy with an iguana puppet that's going
to be a billionaire, and he's not 1/10 of the rest of any of these guys are.
No, he doesn't know how to get over. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Iguana. Then we got Mistico against Blake Christian, and oh my god. So the last few weeks, they've been airing these video packages for Mistico. And I was like, why the hell do they keep airing video packages for Mistico when we've seen him a million times? Meanwhile, Thekla is going to be debuting and they don't give her a video package at all. Well, last week they did give her a video package and it was awesome. And then I realized, oh, the reason that they're doing this is because MJF is going to be facing Mistico, and MJF wants people to know who Mistico is. Well, unfortunately, I don't think these fans in Portland have been watching the video packages. Maybe they're skipping them like I do. And they were not into this match at all. And normally when Blake Christian's out there, he'll do like a 50-50 match with the guy he's in there with, and he ends up getting over stronger than the guy he's supposed to be helping to get over. Well, not this time. He didn't get any offense in. Mystico just didn't quite look himself. I don't know if it's because of the different ring or what it is, or just the crowd not reacting to him like Mexican crowds do. But this match was just kind of there. He ended up getting the
ring, the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. He didn't screw up anything or anything like that, but it was just kind of there. It was a quick match. He won with a Spanish fly. It was basically just to set up the angle that happened afterwards. So Hurt Syndicate comes out. MJF, MVP said he doesn't want to talk, so he's going to let MJF do it. So he told Mystico it was an impressive showing. Kept calling him Misty. And he says, and that's coming from the most complete pro wrestler in the world, obviously referring to himself. He says, I'm going to give you a match at Grand Slam. I'm looking forward to ripping the dime store mask off your stupid face. And you're getting a patriot in Mexico. I'm dusting off the red, white, and blue. God bless America. God bless your American hero, Maxwell Jacob Friedman. He drops down the flag, which, of course, has his face instead of all the stars.
The Taz with the line, oh, he's using the small flag tonight.
This flag
is amazing. This flag is amazing.
It and he got booed, which surprised me. I thought he'd get cheered, being the American hero, but no,
Portland are communists. Yeah,
I guess. Mystico, so he's going on and on. Mystico finally cuts him off, laughed at him, said some stuff to him in Spanish, and then MJF said, "You're not Mystico to me. You're still sloppy Sin Cara, and you're about to get dropped." And he blocked a punch, dropped MJF, and then Lashley and Benjamin attacked. It was 3-on-1, and then MJF tried to get his mask off, but who should make the save but Airspeed and Mascara Dorado, whatever their name is. And they ran off Hurt Syndicate, but then they're actually supposed to have a match, so they ended up doing the match. So it's your Paul Heyman ECW special. Match, angle, match. And then we got the Hurt Syndicate against Mascara Dorada and JetSpeed, and this was fine. It was MJF selling a lot at the beginning, then Lashley and Benjamin beating ass, and then eventually MJF pins, I guess he pins Speedball after a hammerlock DDT.
Speedball got killed in this match.
I thought for sure it was going to be Dorada that he pinned, but nope.
We're doing Grand Slam Mexico. Probably shouldn't beat all the Mexican wrestlers on your card in one night before that.
Is Dorada on the card? I don't remember. But yeah, I guess JetSpeed is not on the.
You still don't want to do it though. I mean, it's
true. So then after the match, Lashley and Benjamin attacked JetSpeed. So I assume they're going to be wrestling it all in, which should be a hell of a match. JetSpeed's going to lose. And then MJF was in there alone with Dorada. He unmasked him, held his mask high, and then Mystico flew in with La Mystica, and MJF tapped immediately. Hurt Syndicate made the save, and Mystico chased him off. So that was that. Then we got a big angle. So they had advertised we're going to hear from Hangman Adam Page, and we get his music, and he's about to come out, but instead he's tossed out of the entranceway by Claudio and Wheeler, who are beating up on him. They've got him hogtied. They've got masking tape around his mouth. Marina's taking shots at him as well. John Moxley's out there. They get into the ring. Moxley's got a mic, and he's like, "We're gonna have a conversation." Meanwhile, like Hangman's got his mouth all taped up. I thought that was funny. And you got to be focused because you're all over the place now, and you got to listen to me. And he says, "I've been watching you for a long time. calls him a millennial cowboy. Said, I don't know what you've been searching for, but you got 4 weeks to find it. You got to step up and be the man. And if you're not prepared to do that, pack your shit and get out. And Paige actually fired up, hit Moxley with a headbutt. Then he got beat up some more. Claudio's about to Pillmanize him. And Moxley held him off. And then the Ops came out and made the save. So this is where the Ops came out. Yes. And then Paige just he does a pretty good promo. He says, if I find any of you tonight, I'm going to take off your heads. Thought for sure he was going to lay out somebody.
I thought he was going to find somebody. Yeah. No, I mean,
well, he just found Renee later. He could have taken her out. Yeah. He went through the crowd and stormed after them, but I guess he gave up looking for them. Maybe they left. I don't know.
It's actually the stories. I thought that too. It's like, oh, he went storming, so we're going to watch him storming and looking for him all night, right? Nope. Gave up, went to catering, got some chicken.
I thought we were doing the same thing as like Cope did, when he was feuding with Mox, where he just took out the Death Riders one by one till we get to the pay-per-view and it's one-on-one and then they all come back. That's what I figured we were going to get.
You know what they're going to do? They're going to continue this next week, and they're going to start with Hangman with a chair walking through the hallway of whatever arena they're in, and he'll find Yuta, probably.
Yeah. Maybe Statlander will make the save and she'll get laid out. So the one thing here about this though that I found was funny was, so they apparently found Hangman backstage, hogtied him, tied up his mouth in masking tape, and dragged him out to the thing. Where was security? Like, they walked right through Gorilla. Like, Tony's just watching this. He's fine. And they beat on him for a while in the ring. No security. Nobody makes a save.
Well, Chris Daniels probably told him to stand down like that time.
Yeah.
Got him
there you go. Yeah. Hangman deserved it. Stoke was right. Death Riders are walking around committing assault. They don't get punished at all. All right. Then we got TayJay, Anna Jay, and Tay Mello. Tay Mello's making her return. And I swear to God, like, if they didn't tell me who she was, there's not a chance in hell I would have recognized her. Against Megan Bayne and Penelope Ford. And their match was fine. It was good, maybe even. It was a showcase for Bayne. She was getting like babyface cheers by the end of the match. She's just looking like a killer. They've been
like this every time, though. It's funny. See, she gets in these matches, and Penelope gets her ass beat, and she tags into Megan, and Megan Bayne is just killing people 2-on-1, or 1-on-2, and she started to get cheered every time. It's like, what are you guys doing? Tatum didn't look too bad for being out of the ring for 2 years.
No, not at all.
I'm a big Tay Mello fan, and Tay and Anna just doing hardcore matches. I'm here for that. But the Megan Bayne push, not push, babyface booking is so weird to me. And I like Megan Bayne as a presence. I actually like Penelope. Penelope doing all the Megan Bayne poses, but then grabbing her jaw or something. It just kills me.
Because she's looking over and it's like, okay, is it now that I do the pose? Like,
yes. She looks uncertain and she looks uncomfortable. And it's so funny to me because it's a great role. It's a great flunky role, but Megan has such poise, but she comes in, she kills everybody too. Like, she kills tag teams by herself. And you're like, yes, that's who I want. I want Vader. Give it to me.
But after getting beat up the whole match, Mello hits, I guess it was
Penelope, because Penelope
with the gory special. And Anna Jay had Megan in the Queenslayer on the apron. So Mello got the pin in her comeback. And then after the match, Megan broke free, attacked, but TayJay ran away. And Mello says, Bayne, you're next. So I guess we're going to get that match. And I don't think Mello's going to win that match, but we'll see.
No, I don't think so. No,
I think they're trying to keep Megan strong because she's probably going to end up facing Mercedes after the Toni feud's done, would be my guess.
I think she's going to be facing Toni after the feud.
Well, she already did. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, because the first match they did went, it was not really decisive. So, they could easily do a rematch.
Or, no, they're going to, no. They're going to unify the titles and then they're going to have a tournament for the TBS title. She's going to win that.
Okay. Yeah, maybe
because it's a title unifier.
Oh, right. Yeah. You're probably right.
Yeah.
Then we got the video package, and this video package was awesome. Let me get that out of the way. Some people called it the best video package they ever did. I wouldn't go that far, but it was really damn good. Don't get me wrong.
Let me also put this out there, because my friend Suit Williams over in the Voices of Wrestling universe made this snarky comment. For all you people who say we need more video package, it's like, yes, we do.
What's your
because
point?
It's like one of those things. It's like, yes, this is an almost 10-year-old feud, and they're talking about the matches. Maybe show some highlights of those matches. That's the bare minimum, and you want to just give them a cookie for it. And I'm like, yes, they did what they were supposed to do. Congratulations. You recapped us on something you talk about from 10 years ago almost, and showed us what it was about and why it was great.
Well,
that's what you're supposed to do with television.
Excalibur said before the thing aired, he's like, okay, this match is happening, and this is a resurrection of a feud that a lot of you may not be familiar with. It happened in our sister promotion, New Japan Pro Wrestling. So he put together this video package to kind of get you up to date on it.
Yes,
right. So for the people that don't know, it's great. For the people that do know, it's awesome too, because you can go back and you can watch it. You can be reminded of it. You can remember details you might have forgot.
Yeah, but you know AEW Tribal, they're like, who hasn't seen Okada and Omega by now? Oh my God, it's only the greatest 6 and 12-star matches ever.
Yeah. I watched them all.
Jerks.
I watched them all, but God knows I can't tell you who won,
exactly,
why they happened, or anything. It's
nice of them to do things for those of us who don't remember everything. I mean,
so they went very detailed. They explained Okada was the champion. They built up to a match at the Tokyo Dome. It was one of the best matches of all time. Omega won. Then they had a rematch at Dominion, and
they mentioned he was the first Gaijin to win the G1.
Yep. And then they had another rematch, and that one went to a draw. So now they're 1-1-1. They're going to have a fourth match, and it's going to decide the series. No time limit. Best of 3 falls. They had the greatest match of all time. Kenny won. And yeah, it was awesome. They went through all of it. They showed highlights. It was great. Everybody was expecting an 80s song with a video package, and I was kind of hoping for that. They didn't do that, but it was fine. It was awesome. Awesome. I said, I recently watched an AEW video package I like better than this, and it was on one of the early Dynamites, and it was building up Cody and Chris Jericho at Full Gear. And it was a completely different style of video package. They talked to Brandy, they talked to JR, they talked to everybody involved and why it was important to both guys. It was awesome. And I'm watching this, my jaw was agape, and I'm like, why don't they do stuff like this anymore? And then I saw it here. So it's great. If they can do stuff like this for the big matches, you don't have to do it for everything. But this is it's funny. I made this comparison, and it's going to sound awful, and especially to AEW Tribalists that want to kill me for saying this, but I'm not wrong. This is like WCW doing Hogan and Warrior, or Hogan and Piper. It's a match that's based on a feud from a different promotion. So you can't assume your fans know the story. And so you got to tell them the story. But it's unique in the sense that the whole build behind this match is that these guys had great matches 10 years ago in another company. Yeah. And now we're going to have it here. Now there's a slight problem with this package. Actually, the problem is not with the package. The package was perfect. It was great. It was awesome. The problem was with the story. The story is these two guys were the best wrestlers 8 years ago. Now they're going to wrestle. Why? Are they wrestling to determine who's the best? No. That's Mox and Hangman, right? After the Swerve match, he said him and Ospreay were the best. Okay, so what? Now they're 5th and 6th? Is that what they are? What's MJF? What's the Hurt Syndicate? You know what I mean? They're not the best anymore.
It's for the Eurocontinental title.
They called it the unified title.
I know.
Apparently. I missed it, but I was told. So that was my only slight problem. But that said, they rectified it because they did a freaking awesome angle that got me more interested in this match than the awesome video package they did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you can rely on the fact these guys had great matches 7 years ago or 8 years ago, whatever it was. So you're going to get a rematch. I mean, that's fine. And for the hardcores, that's all they need. But for the people that they're just finding out about this now, what they did after the video package was way more important, in my opinion.
I agree.
All right. So we brought them out for a contract signing, and they were all friendly. They're both wearing suits, and I was kind of annoyed that they were so friendly because, you know, as you may recall, when they came to Winnipeg, Kenny's hometown, Okada tried to kill him, and they never did any follow-up on it. And Kenny, when he came back, says, life's too short. I'm not holding any grudges. Fuck you. And so anyways, they went over their resumes. Oh no, sorry, that was the video package. So yeah, we get so they have the Continental and International titles on the table, and then they've got a title in between that they unleash, and it's called the Unified title, and it's got side plates of Rainmaker and Omega. So I wonder, like, what happens when one of them loses? I guess they just change the side plates, but yeah, so that's probably what it was. So Omega grabs the mic and he said, 7 years ago, we had our last match. I don't even recognize myself, so let's do it one more time. And he signs. And then they have a face-off. And actually, Okada had already signed. He didn't even say anything. And they're about to like shake hands or whatever. And Don Callis music hits. And he comes out and he says the same thing he said backstage. Shouldn't be Okada in here. It should be Takeshita. And Omega told him to cut the shit. This isn't about you. And he says, well, we're going to ruin things this time. And Omega says, there's not one trick you can pull that I don't know. And then Callis says, bet you didn't know about this. And Okada
I was so happy when he said that. I was like, oh, here we are. Callis has a super stable.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like,
I called this 4 months ago on this show.
Yeah.
You know, that this is what this feud needed. And sure enough, yeah, Okada and the rest of the Callis family beat the shit out of Omega. He went right for the gut. They maybe went a little overboard, but it was fine. Christopher Daniels was out, and the fans cared so much about Omega, they were chanting Fallen Angel.
Oh, the overboard comes after the elbow to the gurney.
Yeah. And Kenny's spitting out blood.
This was a month's worth of blood capsule budget for AEW.
That's fine. That's fine. You know what? It's the biggest match of the year on the biggest show of the year. This is the main match that's selling the show, I think. More than Omega. It's hard to say. Moxley. You know what? There's Moxley, and Hangman. There's also Tony and Mercedes, and then there's this. It's like basically a triple main event, right? Would you say? Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. And for different people, each match is equally important. So yeah, so they load him on a stretcher, and then Daniels tried to get Callis and Okada to leave, but then Okada shoved Daniels down, and then he hit an elbow off the apron onto the stretcher. This is where Omega the blood capsules went everywhere. Okada and Callis escaped through the arena into a car, and Alex Marvez was just happened to be standing by the escape car.
Oh, that was my favorite thing. And not just that, he wasn't standing by he was like around a corner and comes running out. Mm-hmm. Like he's Jimmy Olsen or something, trying to get the big scoop.
Crack reporter.
It's like, great job, Alex. Finally decided to earn that check.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a great angle. And I assume Kenny will be off for a couple weeks, and then he'll come back and we'll do this thing. But I was so glad they didn't do Omega and Okada teaming up against Callis family. Even if they would have done that and then Okada turned on him or something, like that would have been fine. But this was better.
I think this is how they also get Takeshita out of the family.
I mean, maybe. I guess it depends who wins the match. I think Okada's got to win, actually.
Do they? Are we going? Okay, who are we going to turn? We going to turn Takeshita or Okada? We're going to turn one of them, I think.
Well, if Okada wins, then it probably means we turn Takeshita.
Okay, cool.
I think Okada with Callis as his mouthpiece works really, really well.
I do too, but I get the feeling that they want. See, I think Okada loses.
You know who the thing is, Omega's up in the series 2-1-1. So that's why I'm saying Okada should win.
Well, who would make the better babyface of the two? That's the question. That's the other question.
And Okada? I think Takeshita.
I do too. That's the
Yeah.
weird thing. Is it's like
Yeah.
Okada gets those pops for saying bitch,
Yeah.
and he could
But
probably get away with it and be a
but
huge
he probably will
star.
stop doing that now, I would think.
Yeah.
You know who the big loser here is? Josh
No.
Alexander. He's like the fourth guy in the stable now. That poor dude. He's like one step above Trent.
And Rocky.
Kyle's
and
third in the
Hechicero.
stable now, right? Maybe second.
Yeah.
Second or third. Like that is a super stable. I mean, that is
It is.
Yeah, and hey, that's great. I mean, that sets them up for after All In for sure. You know,
They
you
should
can
destroy
have
the Death Riders.
that'd be different. Yeah. And then you can have Moxley come back 6 months later as a
Have
conquering hero.
the big bads destroy the phony bads and get rid of this stupid angle.
You could do that. You could do that. They need a woman too. Shayna.
Well, they could take out the Death Riders. I think they could take out Okada. Okada could lead them against the Bucks.
Ooh, there
and
you
take
go.
them out too.
Yeah.
And just establish themselves as the main bad faction.
Now you got a reason to do Okada Ospreay again. You got, you know, this opens up a lot. So this is good. This is good.
You say Shayna, I would reintroduce Britt Baker if they could.
Oh,
as part of the Callis family.
Or I mean, they could just bring in Sky Blue.
No, I want someone with some heft in there. I mean, remember we won Mercedes in the Elite originally. We could put Mercedes in here too if we want to, but Britt would be an interesting choice.
Josh's wife is a worker, but I don't know.
Jay Chung has not done matches in a long time.
Okay, all right.
She was a ring announcer in TNA, for God's sakes.
True. So yeah, I thought the Dynamite portion of this was really good.
I loved it.
Yeah. Like I said, that ending of that opening match kind of bugged me, but other than that, the rest of it was, it flowed really well. Some great build. I didn't really like the Mistico match that much either, but other than that, everything was good. What it needed to be, and there were some great angles on the show. So yeah, I like that. And then the collision was collision. I was like, by the end of that show, I was like, good Lord, don't ever do this again. I'm telling you right now, if they do this again, like if they do another 4-hour show, we're doing the Dynamite show at the regular time. We're not recapping this collision. We're not. We're just not.
It wouldn't be so bad if it was like a Clash of Champions style event. The problem is they think that all of their weekly television is Clash of Champions styles events.
Well, the problem is they just did the same show they do every week.
Yes.
They taped a 2-hour Dynamite, then they did a 2-hour Collision. Instead of taping it, they aired it live. That's it. So that it wasn't like summer blockbuster. It was a regular Dynamite and a regular Collision. It was a hell of a Dynamite, but it wasn't like a special. Like last week was better, I thought.
But you front load with your best 2 hours, and then you put 2 hours of this middling crap afterwards.
Actually, I shouldn't say that. Last week was better wrestling. This week had the better angles and build.
Yes, and I preferred this week to last week.
There you go. That's fair. And that's like a lot of times with the WWE shows. Like we like the ones with the build more than we like the ones with the good wrestling.
Yes, I want my good wrestling. I want my good wrestling on the shows I pay for. The PLEs.
Raw this week kind of had a little of both, actually. They had good wrestling and good build. So, but yeah, Dynamite was really good. Collision was collision. So, all right. I think that's it. So I'm going to warn everybody ahead of time. In about a month, I'm going to be taking a little bit of time off. We're doing a road trip, so I'm going to be off for a couple weeks. I'm not sure what's going to happen. We'll update you guys.
Who's going to take care of me? Who's going to babysit me? Oh my God.
I don't know. We'll figure it out. Transferring Heat. You got to let us know what show you want us to recap. We will do a Dynamite. We'll do a special Dynamite. Just let us know. Let us know the date what date.
Oh,
what show?
Is he second because the other guy?
He was the last one. Yeah, because DJ Cass hasn't gotten back to us yet. So transferring Heat, you get to pick. So let us know. And Jeff, you got any plugs?
Shake Them Ropes back this week. First episode I've missed in 14 years in terms of putting out content.
Wow.
Because Chris decided not to tape a show, and I got home on Sunday night late because my flight was delayed. I was too tired to do anything. So Ice cold takes on Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. And yes, Mystery Iguana will be spoken about probably. Also, that main event from NXT, which I really like. I like big guys doing bad things
Oh
to
yeah,
each
yeah,
other.
yeah. That was awesome.
We'll talk Gunther winning the title back from Jey Uso and Invader Club, whatever Nove picks, although he hasn't gotten back to me, and I don't know if he's read the messages yet because he's mixing an album. So we'll see what happens, but that'll drop sometime later this week. And all your podcatching feeds, either on Shake Them Ropes feed or the Voices of Wrestling super feed. You can also follow me at Crap Game 13 for bad jokes and takes on movies with Elisha Cook Jr.
Ooh. Gigi and I also missed our show this week. So we'll be back on Monday with the Takedown, where we just do our quick takes designed for YouTube, but we do it on podcasts as well. So we break up the segments, paste them on YouTube, 10-minute segments, and then we put the whole 30-minute thing up on YouTube, on the podcast feed. So you can listen or watch either way. And then Jeff and I will be back next week, hopefully back at our regular time. Although John kept saying next week is a 2.5-hour show. So we might be late next week. I don't know. 2.5 hours will seem like nothing compared to the last 2 weeks. So for Jeff Hawkins, I've been, as Garrett pointed out, Paul Fontaine, and this has been The Dynamite Show.